what I wanted to know before I started tricking. For audience purposes, this video is going to be in full English. Sorry to my French audience, but I will add subtitles if needed. We will go over tricking itself, community, progression, people as trickers. So it's going to be a rather long video. So grab a snack, a drink, and we're good to start. People as trickers. There is this term muggles that we used to talk about people that do not trick. Aside of sounding a bit arrogant when you use it, it's pretty funny when you're around other trickers, right? One thing is, we are kinda right to use it in that way. Or at least it's not wrong to call them muggles. But why? Well, in tricking, you need to strengthen certain parts of your body more than others. Because of that, our body structure is different than most people/average people. Also, it depends a lot on your tricking style. If you're into kicks, you'll be more flexible than the majority of people, and even some triggers. If your style relies on power, you'll be bulkier, etc. Keep in mind that everyone is different and that it's not because you are bulky that you cannot have sharp kicks. And people with different body types can have the same tricking style. For example, Levi and Theo will do a lot of front swing chains, but Levi has longer legs, but it doesn't make him unable to pull off sick front swing combos, right? In short, you will grow muscles that are useful for tricking, but those muscles aren't especially developed for others. Now, on the mental aspect, tricking is a sport of patience and grind when you want to get good at it. You have to spend a lot of time training and being consistent in your trainings. You will also go through a lot of pain physically because of injuries, because it's hard on your joints, because your body is fatigued, and mentally because of deceptions, depressing times during injuries, because you're hitting a plateau and you cannot seem to progress. But in the end, those things make you different than people who do not get through that on a weekly basis. You get more pain tolerance, you know your body more, and you grow in your head. Now, talking about tricking itself, I want to start by something people still argue on today, terminology. Some people think that it would be better if we had a precise and universal tricking terminology. But since the sport is evolving constantly and carried by its community, anyone can decide to use a different terminology. Also, tricking is a mix of martial arts, taekwondo, capoeira, gymnastics, breakdance and all, which leads to the fact that not all moves are named the same. Recently, I talked with a tricker friend about a combo ending with a snatch cannon, and he asked me, what is snatch cannon? And then I had to explain him something obvious for most trickers, but not for everyone. So each time someone lands or does a new trick, he gets to name it. The most known examples are snatch cannon for cork in and Tirada grab by Steve Tirada, who also named snap swipe. Those names aren't written in some official tricking book. It's just a mutual agreement that everyone will use it to talk about a certain trick. But think about how confusing it could be for new trickers. You almost need a PhD in tricking to remember and use terminology correctly, right? And I still haven't talked about kicks. To make it simple and clear, when it's about vert kicks, it's not the same as taekwondo. C9 means cheat 900. Not because you do a kick after a 900-degree twist, but because actually we count with sums of the previous kick. Let me explain. There is a tornado, which is a 360, because we count the cheat step and the twist you perform in the air. In total, you do a 360 in a tornado, right? Simple. Next is 540 kick. It's a tornado 360 where you land on the other leg after you kick through your target, which makes you do a half a twist on the landing. In total, it does 360 plus 180 equals 540. I did the math. Now with cheat 9, you add a 360 to it. Yes, it should be a 720, but because you land on the same leg as a tornado, it's a 900. A 720 is basically a 540 without the round kick, but with a hook kick. And with that in mind, you can do a cheat 1080, also known as cheat 10, and return C10, and then C12, and so on. I am not going to do a terminology course because it's going to take way too much time to go in depth, but hopefully Brandon, aka Mastering Tricking, made great videos about terminology to save newbies. Difficulty aspects. Tricking may be less than 30 years old, but in the past 10 years, Tricker pushed the boundaries numerous times. When in 2005, Double Cork and Double Fools made you great triggers. Today they are just the setups or the basics, almost. It raises an issue on the difficulty you think doing a trick is. Maybe for you it is difficult to do a triple, right? Maybe a triple cork or a double cork, but the reality is that now people do triple corks every day, like we were doing a backflip 20 years ago. Objectively, trip cork is a hard move, but not that hard considering the number of people able to land it. But 12 years ago, people doubted in the possibility of landing triple cork. If you sent Jose with his current level in 2005, he would just stomp dub 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 as a warm-up and people would be mind blown because of what they just saw when they thought it was impossible. And he could walk out of it with no reaction because that is something not that crazy as of today. I mean, it's crazy, but we are aware that dub 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 is possible. It's actually something pretty interesting, and a recent interview with James West on Trickstrong account on Instagram gives an accurate explanation of the phenomenon.
Yeah. Imagine if we lived in a society where like Quint was easy. Like Quint was like dub. Like there's nothing about Quint that makes it like they're both just flips with spins in them, man. Like there's no reason why it should be that much harder. I know this I sound like a crazy person, but what I'm trying to say is it's 100% mental. Like if you lived in a society where Quint was like an easy skill, like you would do it as if it was. It's harder to think that way about these skills because you have everybody else like telling you that they're hard. But if that didn't exist, I think things would be drastically different. Like if dub trip was like a skill that people did all the time, like I'd probably think it was hella easy. I wouldn't be hyped on it at all. I don't think of like the difficulty as a trick as a reason why I shouldn't be able to do it. Yeah.
Nice.
Because difficulty is like a subjective thing.
So you think more about your prior training and
yes.
how prepared you are for it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like when I started, like cork was like an intermediate skill and like dub was like the ceiling. Yeah. But now people that are starting now, their ceiling is quad cork.
Yep.
And triple variations and all that, so they're getting to that much faster. And humans did not evolve in the last 8 to 10 years.
Did not. Yeah.
So I mean, that's undeniable.
So yeah, basically what he says is that when you are surrounded by people landing objectively hard tricks for today's standards, you are going to get the same standards to your vision of difficulty of trick. I remember Johannes Antela saying in a video that he didn't have much trouble to land his first triple full because he wasn't seeing them as a hard trick. Progression. Alright, progressions depends on a lot of factors. Your physical condition, your age, your height, the time you spend training, your environment, and the age you start training. Of course, it depends on way more factors than that, because there's also the injury time, the feeling you have with tricking, etc. But those are the main factors that will determine the speed of your progression, kind of. First, physical condition. If you start with a strong and flexible body, you know it will be easier to trick than someone who starts with zero background in any sport. You will also have less trouble to train a longer time because your body is used to relatively long and intense effort. Secondly, your age. It is linked to your physical condition and also if you have a background in gymnastics or something like that. But if you start at a young age, like 6, 7 or 8 years old, you have a massive asset. First, you almost have no notion of danger. What could go wrong if I mess up? You don't overthink before sending a trick. Secondly, most people are short and light at that age, which means your center of mass is low and you have to use less energy to do the same trick than someone who is 1.5 or 2 times taller than you, right? Also, the most important part of it, from 1 to 12 years old, you're a kid. Basically, your body gets used to the movements you do over and over again, and at this age, neuronal connection and creation is massive. Your learning ability is also at the top, but there are also your muscles that grow a certain way to perform tricks and kicks. When you hit puberty around the age of 12 to 16, you still grow and your body structure will be different. But your muscles are still able to do the same things as they did when you were a kid. And this is one of the main reasons people are insanely good now if they started early. The height thing is not really preventing you to progress faster than someone who is shorter than you, except the fact that when you land or fall, you fall from higher, so it's harder on your joints and you cannot trick that long without tiring your body. Let's now take two people who are starting with both the same abilities. Well, the one who tends to progress faster is the one who spends the most time training, obviously. But it's nothing if he's training alone with just grass. Something that will send your progression speed to the roof is your environment. If you have a spring floor, a training partner, a tricking instructor, a trampoline, proper gym access, a camera to record yourself and compare yourself. Also, being surrounded by trickers better than you is super useful because they will tell you what you are doing wrong, give you tips, or just motivate you to get better. That's simple. Now I'm done with progression factors. I want to add that your progression won't be linear. Of course, you will hit plateaus, maybe a month, maybe 6 months, or even a year. You will lose tricks, but you will also get better. Progressing in tricking is not easy because there is so much things you can work on that you have to make choices on what you will train during your tricking journey or on the next session. There are people only training kicks, some people training variations, people training long combos, swing chains, twisting moves, doubles, etc. So don't expect to get good at everything less than, I'd say, 4 years because it takes time. We will finish with what's probably the most beautiful thing about tricking, the community. The tricking community is not like any other sport community. The people you will meet are kind-hearted, cheerful, obsessed about tricking. There are exceptions, but I'd say that over 95% of the trickers I've met are wonderful human beings, aside of being great trickers. There's always someone to help you, to listen, to make plans, or to share your joy when someone lands a trick. No matter if it's a front flip or a fall-in, it's the same. That's the tricking spirit. So yeah, no hate in tricking because hitting the floor is already tough. You don't need people to be tough with you as well. And that concludes this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, or at least learned from it. If you want to add something on what I said, or correct me, maybe say something that was important and that I missed, do it in the comments. I will read and probably pin you if it's really important. Also, sorry for bad English. Je suis français. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. Or don't. As you want. I guess I'm finished. Boo!